Nicole Strickland. I have been fascinated with the unknown and paranormal realms since childhood. After a profound experience with my grandmother's spirit 20 years ago, I have been on a quest to observe, study, investigate, and communicate with the afterlife and beyond. It's been an ongoing journey of exploration and discovery, one that has taught me how mortality and the spirit world are forever bonded through the veils of time. Good evening, everyone who is listening to the show tonight. Welcome to another night of exploring the connection between life, death, and beyond right here on the Afterlife Chronicles on WLTK-DB.com. Of course, I am your host, Nicole Strickland. We have a great show for you tonight. If you haven't already, please follow the station on its socials at WLTK-DB. Of course, website WLTK-DB.com. The Afterlife Chronicles at Afterlife Chronicles and Beyond on Facebook. And then, of course, it's Podbean page, afterlifechronicles.podbean.com. So we do have a great show for you tonight. Just a little summary. We're going to be discussing some theories on the afterlife here, life after death, get into some instrumental transcommunication or real-time spirit communication, if you will, with two of my most favorite people from the Pacific Northwest, Linda Myers and Bethune. But before we bring them in, just a couple of announcements. As always, people are asking me, and it's almost, going to be September here soon, when the Queen Mary is opening. So, of course, we don't have an answer for you yet of an exact date. They're shooting for I think it's October 1st. So we're shooting for that. So once I hear and I get a definite, I hear from people all over. If I hear it, some of my friends hear it, they'll let me know, it. So once I hear, I will then post on it and let you guys know. So hopefully by October 1st. And then, of course, Haunted Voices Radio returns September 16th. Super, super excited after about a year-long hiatus there. Kaden Mask and Alyssa Mask will be joining us for that first episode. And then the week after that, Henry San Miguel of Perception and host of Paranormal Perception, and of course the organizer for the OC Paracon, which takes place October 1st and 2nd at the Sonesta Hotel in Anaheim. So Paranormal Pete, his show Paranormal Pete, Pete Orbea, and I are both speakers at that conference and panelists and things like that. So it's going to be a great event. And then also, too, I'm sure some of you have heard, I'm in San Diego, California, so I'm obviously a California resident. We have another missing persons case, which is quite tragic to hear of these, especially when, they're involving minors and young people. So I just found out about this last night, so I do want to spread some awareness. So Kylie, Kiely, Rodney, Rodni. Sadly, she went missing up in Truckee, California at the Prosser Family Campground. She was celebrating an end of the summer party with a bunch of people, something around like 200 or 300 high school students, even other people that joined. Sadly, went missing around 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m. in that time frame. So they have been looking for her. The FBI is involved. Lots of different agencies are involved. So if you know anything about the case or anything like that, please visit the website findkylie, KIELY.com, #findkylie. So just wanted to spread that awareness. She was last seen wearing green Dickie pants, a black tank top, 3 gold necklaces, and black Vans. So keeping her family and her and everyone who's looking for her in my heart. Hopefully she is found very soon and found safe. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in, tonight's guests. So Mary Bethune and Linda Myers. I am so happy to have them on. Oh my gosh.
Hello.
Hi, my little ear pod thingy fell out of my ear. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
So my internet blocked out there for a second, so I'm okay. So we'll keep it okay here. Let's just pray that it's okay. So thanks for joining me tonight. Katie Brown says hi.
Hi,
Let's see
Katie.
here. Good evening, awesome ladies. Nice to see you
Aw.
there, Katie. Hi, Facebook user there. Hi, Nicole. And of course, Mary and Linda as well. Just, I'll let you guys talk about yourself. Sometimes I kind of give a little intro, about short little bio, but I'll let you guys talk about yourself. A lot of the listeners already know you anyways. So, and
Okay.
I'm very excited for tonight's discussion because I think it's very timely. We're all afterlife researchers, ITC. I'm huge into ITC, so it's going to be a
Yay.
great discussion. So let's start out. Whoever wants to go first, just a little bit about yourself, and we'll go from there.
Go for it, Linda.
Hi,
Linda's
I'm Linda Myers, and I've been actually doing paranormal probably close to 30 years, off and on, different teams. Been very interested. I will share probably a little bit later on in the show the primary reason I got into the paranormal. It's going to kind of really tie in with what we're going to be talking about with afterlife stuff. I live here in beautiful Port Orchard, Washington. We had a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to hanging out with these two of my favorite ladies.
Yeah.
So, your turn, Miss Mary.
Well, let's see. Yeah. So, what can I say? No, I've been on. I'm one of the original founders of Olympic Peninsula Paranormal Society, or Team Ops, because it's easier to say. And I've been on the team for 15 years, almost 15 years now. As I've been very fortunate. We have a great team. Linda and I are both co-team leaders. So we're having fun with that, aren't we, Linda?
We're being led astray.
Yeah. And so pretty much, I've been really psychic. I've been psychic my whole life. I've seen and heard things since I was a kid. I've had like prophetic dreams about things that are going to happen as a kid, and they happen. So it's been a normal part of my life, but I really didn't get into investigating, even though I've been very interested in the paranormal and read all kind of books prior, until my husband passed away in 2007. No, 2006. And I always believed in the afterlife. So that really kind of pushed me into going into the afterlife. What is it? Does it exist? That type of thing. And I'm really into the instrumental transcommunication, because that is a great way to communicate with others. I've also been trained in a form of grief therapy, which is called repair and reattachment. And what that is they use rapid eye movement and desensitization, which puts you in this kind of state where you listen to binaural beat music. And they found that people were having afterlife contacts with their loved ones.
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you, I was at the 5-year appointment with Doug, and I went to this lady and here in town, and she did that on me. It's a heavy duty process. I was there for about 5 hours. And I got to resolve. I had an afterlife communication with my husband, and it was incredible. So I was fortunate that she trained me in that. I feel very good about that. So basically, my whole thing is to help people understand and know that we do not die. We do not die. Our bodies die, but we're still alive. So that's my thing.
I agree on that. I agree. And it's,
Yeah.
I find that too, Linda, you've had a very profound experience, and, you can share it whenever you want, whenever you feel it's, perfect to share during the show. But I find a lot of people have these very profound experiences with deceased loved ones, whether it's, a mother or father, or even a friend or an animal. And that almost propels the interest, but then also propels the sensitivity. So after you have that, you also are more attuned to having these other types of experiences. And grief is interesting too. So I'm wondering if those that go with the flow of their grieving process will be more, I guess, attuned to having these experiences, as opposed to like pushing that grief down and not dealing with it like they're supposed to.
It's so interesting, because the experience I've had with myself, and of course I've dealt with my patients who've been through the grieving process, is that people, it scares them and is exhausting, and they want answers. But I've also found that people want to really know. They want to hear from their loved ones, and they won't say anything to you at first, but once you start talking to them a little bit, they'll go, well, I wish I really would hear from so and so. So that's been my experience.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that talking about the grief thing, because I'll talk about my experience real quick because I think it kind of ties in. My brother was killed when I was 19 and he was 17. And I have to tell you, I didn't do grief well. I was angry at God. I was angry at people. I was angry all the time because we were like very close. He was just like my, two peas in a pod. So what changed for me is I went to visit some friends and in Colorado, and they were having this horrendous snow, thunder, lightning, all the things you could have in one little night storm. And so I was downstairs, asleep in my bed, and I had this dream. And I'm assuming it's a dream because right now, more of the things that I'm learning, I'm like wondering if maybe it was something else. But anyway, for this purpose, I'm going to say it was a dream. Anyway, my brother shows up and we're in a cave, like a real cave, rock wall type stuff. But the furniture inside the cave is made out of like wood, like somebody's chopped wood and made a table and made chairs and this is and that. And so my brother is standing off over to one side and I'm standing over by kind of the table. And I'm looking at him and he has a bow and arrow in his hands. He draws the bow and arrow. He points it at me and he looks at me and he says, I can shoot this, hit you in the heart. Your heart will stop, but you will not die.
Wow.
Goosebumps. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, honey.
40 years later.
Tears are welcome on this show. I've cried before. They are absolutely welcome. Do not shy from crying on this show, let me tell you. What do you think? I have a theory, but
it changed my life.
What do you think the message was in that? What do you think he was trying to tell you?
That
we do exactly.
I needed to understand that he wasn't there physically, but he was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've felt that ever since. I've had things happen to me that I know had he not been my little guardian angel, I would have been in some trouble.
Yeah.
But it totally shifted the way I thought about life. I couldn't look at death the same way after that. I was no longer afraid.
Yeah.
It was like how, when you're always thinking about, something's going to happen to me, am I going to die? It's like, oh, well, I've had fun so far, and incredible.
That's a very beautiful story. And I'm finding too that I'm connecting with people like you who also have that profound passion for not only studying the afterlife and learning about it, but experiencing it as well, like connecting with our deceased loved ones. And so that's an interesting aspect of it as well, finding that like-minded people. Yeah.
One year I gave a session at the Port Gamble. I spoke on afterlife communication, and it was really cool because it was basically talking about that, pay attention, your loved ones are there. It doesn't matter if they're animals or people, it doesn't matter. Their spirit is there and they want to communicate with you. You just have to open your mind a little bit and really pay attention, because I think they give signs all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll share this briefly, but with the passing of my cat, Kaylee. Now, I've had cats all my life, but her.
Hard.
Yeah.
She cut out.
Yeah, she did. Come back.
Would you like to be a part of something new, something different? Host a show with WLTK-DB Talk Radio and dare to be different. We offer full production and live engineering of your show by a real person, not a pesky computer. Just visit WLTK-DB.com and click pricing to get started. It's not as much as you think, and a great way for you to get your message to the world. Better hurry. Slots fill up fast, and you don't want to miss out on this excellent opportunity. Visit WLTK-DB.com and contact us for more information now. WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Paranormal talk is our business, and business is good. From its beginnings, Used was created to unleash the excellence of nature's healing powers and bring them to people everywhere. With almost 90 years in the market, they are considered a worldwide pioneer in complete herbal wellness therapy. All Swiss Used products are natural, essential oil-based, pleasant, and harmonious. They are extracted from plants and herbs with the latest technology to ensure the best results. Swiss Used Live Healthy with consultant Stephanie will guide you in the right direction to find the perfect essential products just for you. For example, have an upset tummy? Try our soothing chamomile that has not only been used by many, but trusted for years. Keep in mind, you just can't get these amazing oils at your local shopping center. They're just too special. For that, you need a connection. And that connection is Stephanie. Want some? Then head on over to Facebook and search Swiss Used Live Healthy. That's Swiss Used Live Healthy, and contact Stephanie today.
Hello. Well, somebody's smiling.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear
Yes,
me okay?
ma'am.
I don't know what's going. The Wi-Fi in this house is usually pretty good. I do not know what's going on tonight, so we'll just see how it goes. If it were to blot out again, then I don't know what we're gonna do. But I was talking, and then the little circles were going around. I'm like, no, no one's hearing me. So I'm glad we went to break. So can you hear me okay? Thumbs up.
I can hear you. I can hear you really well. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Fingers crossed. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi tonight, but my God, my goodness. So, all right. So briefly, Kaylee. So when she passed, and she was a very intelligent cat. Okay. And then when she passed, I knew she was going to ascend the ranks of the afterlife pretty quickly. And I have had about 8 dreams now, like you, Linda. I'm not sure if these are dreams or if these are like slight astral projections or what they are, but I've had about 8 dreams, and they take place in the room, like in my bedroom, like the same scenario as when I went to sleep, same lighting, same, pretty much same everything, same surroundings. And I'm able to meet with her and feel her fur and touch her. I've felt the warmth. I've felt the purring.
Wow.
I've felt the heartbeat. I've never had that with another cat. So again, I don't know if it's a dream or something else. So I wanted to share that because, you know, you were saying with your brother, you weren't sure if it was a dream or if it was, you know, maybe something else. So
Yeah, I think it's like lucid dreaming, but I always, it's to me, it's definitely a form of afterlife.
yeah,
contact.
absolutely. Yeah,
I've had
absolutely.
experiences of going to the other side with my spirit guide taking me to the other side, which is weird. But when my husband passed away, he wanted his dog to come and take him to the, to wherever. Nikki was his big, that was his soul dog,
Oh.
just like your Kaylee, And right before he died, he was in a coma. But I tell you, he sat up in the room, took his mask off, he had oxygen on, and started calling his dog Nikki. He said, "Nikki, come on, honey, let's go, let's go." And then all of a
Oh my
sudden, this
gosh.
beautiful light in the room, just he goes, "Come on, honey, let's go, let's go." I'm sitting there with my mouth hanging open, and he evidently she was there, and he laid back down, gone, and then the light went out, and he was dead.
Wow.
I was glad I was.
Wow.
It was, of course, it's hard, but it was a gift. That was a gift for me. But yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. And then speaking of it, Mary, you've been developing, and you too, Linda, theories relating to your thoughts of
Mhm.
the afterlife and
Mhm.
and how that involves the human body and mind, body, and spirit. Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah. You want to go first? You want me to go first, Linda?
Go ahead.
Okay. So
Let's flip a coin. No, I'm kidding. I'm
I
joking.
know. So I'm just going to try to do this briefly because it's a lot of information. So anyway, so what quantum is. Quantum is the minimal amount of physical activity or energy required to have an interaction with something, whatever it is. So some of the things, talking to people through the years, people either think the afterlife or ghosts are spirits of the dead. Everything in our head, it's all in our head. Remnants of the past. No such thing as ghost or ghosts are interdimensional. So I through the years, I've talked to people, oh, these are real, that's really interesting, But on a scientific basis, there's research being done on Higgs boson field, and the Higgs was discovered in CERN in Switzerland back in the 2000s. So basically, they're talking about how we are all made of subatomic particles, protons, neutrons, electrons, quarks, whatever. So those are bosons, and the Higgs field is an energy field that exists everywhere. And I've been doing all this. I know people are going to think I'm crazy, but
no, not at all. Not at all.
So the boson is the carrier. So as the particles pass through this field, they are given mass. Okay, this is something that's never had mass, and they're given energy. So that in itself is pretty interesting. It's like, so we're energy technically, because energy cannot be created or destroyed. So we are energy.
Right.
And then there's also been some human research consciousness done. There's something called an orchestrated objective reduction. I know it's a big area. Do you know about that?
Oh my gosh, I've talked about this too.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. So that thing. See that thing. So it says that human consciousness exists both in matter and in energy, in the brain neurons. It's really deep. It's in the microtubules of the brain, so it's super, super deep. Okay, and the microtubules have quantum vibrations, and they believe that it's possible this energy can leave the brain in the form of a quantum energy. So how does this relate back to Higgs? So I'm starting to think about all these crazy things. So my question is, could this be the root of consciousness?
Exactly. Absolutely.
And then of course you've heard of the 21 grams. Now they say this has been debunked, but I don't think so. It was an experiment back in the 1900s where this a Scottish doctor attempted to see if anything left the body at death, and he measured 21 grams. So people are still looking into that. So, but when all brain activity stops, you're dead. Okay, that's it. You're gone. Your body is dead. And there was a study done by the Journal of Palliative Studies. So they monitored patients' brain waves before and after death.
Mm-hmm.
There was decreased brain activity, and then all of a sudden, on the EEG, there's a transient spike after death.
Yes.
So, is this an energy signal picked up by Higgs boson? And I know this sounds crazy. The Higgs boson gives its mass, or is it an evoked potential? So, is this the moment that quantum consciousness in the brain, microtubule, is converted to massless energy, and can that be measured as 21 grams? So that's part of my theory. It's an ongoing.
That is interesting because I talk about the OR. It's the acronym of ORC, OR. I developed at University of Arizona too. That's my. I went there, so it's kind of like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's an interesting theory, and I've talked about that too during presentations.
But it's so interesting how you can pull that together with the quantum side.
You really can.
It's really interesting, and so I'm still working on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm blown away by it. I just keep reading stuff like, oh.
It is an ongoing process. That's the beauty of research. What are your thoughts, Linda?
I have to agree, with all that she said, and it's like sometimes I'm like wondering if afterlife is actually a different stage of consciousness.
That's a very astute point. Yes,
I'm of the mind that we have. What am I trying to think of? The different realities that they talk about, that things are happening in the past, are happening still in the now, and then I don't know how to phrase that exactly. But the reason I believe in that, I've had some things happen to me where I honestly believe reality shifted for me. I mean, I was a conscious witness, and so when something like that happens to you, you have to reframe how you think things, because I don't believe that time exists really. I think that's the concept that we had to have our daily schedules. And
Yeah.
so if there's no time, then everything is happening simultaneously. So when somebody passes over, I feel like it's just a shift. And because of the vibrational rates that are involved,
Absolutely.
we can't really, well, some of us can see them, but not everybody.
Absolutely.
So I think, to me, the afterlife is a shift. And I think that there are people here now, and then on that side, or whatever, which one they're in at the time, I think it can bleed through if you open up yourself, letting that happen.
I agree. Something I read too, and you probably read this too, and I'm not, this is interesting. So his name is Dr. Sean Carroll, and he's a cosmologist and a physics professor at the Cowell Institute of Technology. And he states that in order for there to be an afterlife, human consciousness would have to be something that is entirely separated from our physical body. He maintains that it is not. He says that our mind and consciousness are nothing more than a collection of atoms and electrons that give us our mind. The laws of the universe do not allow these particles to operate after our physical demise. So he believes in the whole quantum field theory, right? So so that there's one field for each type of particle, which then supports the existence of an afterlife or an eternal soul. What are your thoughts on that? I found that, and I it's just a little bit of a different take, but it's intriguing.
It is intriguing. I mean, and he
I don't know
talks
if I
about
agree with it 100%, but
I don't, I think especially when you look at the Higgs boson field, he's talking about how you can't have a collection of energy or whatever you want to call it that leaves the human consciousness, So that's the part that I don't understand. Of course, he's got a degree in physics and cosmology. He's a lot smarter than I am. But when I try to reconcile, I have to read that article. When I try to reconcile those two things together, it doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't, right? That's kind of what my thoughts were on it too. And then we all know Sam Parnia. It's interesting too because I always think, okay, like the term near-death experience, I'm like, that's kind of an ill-defined term because I agree. I don't think we ever die.
Right.
And it's interesting because he terms that as an experience of death. And he's found all kinds of correlations. But one thing that fascinates me is that when the cognition of people that are going through that dying process, so they have that life review, but it's not a life review of like materialism or vacations or anything that has to do with the superficial. It's more of it's a review of their humanity and what they contributed to humanity, maybe the mistakes they made, and then they're able to experience other people's reactions to that. So the empathy comes in and all of that. So I found that unique too, that it's, interesting that people have that.
Well,
but I agree. I don't think we die.
I had a near-death experience, and I can tell you that you do have that, if you want to call it a life review, I don't know what you call it, but because the only person that judges you is you, it's mostly about understanding, and the empathy. That's what it's about. So for me, it was like you said, Linda, it's like I walked through a door. It wasn't, I had a pretty traumatic experience, had an anaphylaxis and died, but I knew I was dying, and it's just, I felt part of the universe, and boom, I was in another place. It was that quick. It was that fast. But it's just like you said, Linda.
Did you have any other? Oh, go ahead.
When I had my
did you have any other experiences? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I think there's a delay, and so go ahead, Linda. Sorry.
When I had my son,
sucks on my end tonight.
I had severe bleeding, so I got put back in the hospital. And when I was in the hospital, it's interesting because having tonight's show made me think about this. I hadn't thought about this for years, but so I had massive blood loss. And so I was in my hospital bed, and all of a sudden I was out of my body. But I wasn't out of my body in the hospital room. I was out of my body in space. And I remember floating around and looking and thinking, what the hell? And then it was like, well, I can't stay here. It's not my time. And I was right back. So when that happens to you, it's like there has to be more. I'm sorry. Explain that to me, Mr. Scientist.
Yeah.
I know, right? Exactly. There's modern science, I think, can't and will not ever be able to explain it. I just don't think so. Maybe I'll be wrong, but that's just my thought.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, is it really something that us mortals are permitted to understand entirely? I don't know.
You know, it could be.
I think
You
so.
learn how to ride a bike, so you know how to ride a bike.
Yeah,
If you
I think they do. I think people will get it eventually. Who knows when, but I think they will.
I think they have to kind of
Absolutely.
maybe have the experience, or somebody close to them have the experience
Mhm.
to understand that. I think you have to experience it.
And I've seen so many people die in my career. I've been at so many deaths at the bedsides of all kind of deaths, and nobody can convince me there's not something else out there. There's just no way. So.
Yeah, I had my mom on. She's a registered nurse of like many years, and I had her
Oh
on, and
yeah.
she was talking about some of her experiences
Yeah.
when she was a hospice nurse.
Oh God.
And boy, wow, just I'd like to re-listen to that episode because I was just her experiences really, really open up your eyes and your heart on this sort of situation. What are your thoughts on like bilocation and the whole, concept of, okay, well, past, present, and future, it's all infused in one, and that could explain, why maybe we have some of these spirit communication experiences and are able to connect with the beyond.
Mhm.
I don't know.
What do you think, Linda? I'll let you're the shaman. I think that's a good question for you. Go for it.
That's right, she is.
right.
Talking about the bilocation thing makes me think about some experiences when I was learning how to do remote viewing. I remember being in one location, and I was looking across at a mountaintop, and the next thing I knew, I was on the mountaintop looking back at myself.
Wow.
So it
Oh,
made
wow.
me,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There has to be something that we innately have, that if we allow ourselves to, expand our mind and think these things and have these experiences, it's like, how can you say it didn't happen when you're in it? But, I kind of have to go back to that thing. You have to be willing to experience it.
Exactly.
You have to be willing to open up your mind and say, this is a possibility. Because until you do, I think you're not going to, you don't allow that universal knowledge, to filter through, because we can access it if we want to. But I think you have to want to.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree
Right
with that.
on.
Yeah.
Well
For me,
said.
the bilocation thing just, honestly, it kind of scrambles my brain a bit. I can't even go there. I'm serious.
I know. Yep. I feel that. I know it's an interesting concept, but it's hard to wrap your brain around that. So I know we had a little internet glitch there, but we do need to take a break. So let's go ahead and do that. And then when we come back, we'll shift into ITC, instrumental transcommunication. And Mary, thanks for sharing some of your clips. I've listened to them.
Oh,
They're
sure.
phenomenal. So this will be awesome. So let's take our first break. You are tuning into the Afterlife Chronicles tonight with guests Mary Bethune and Linda Myers. We will be right back. Or maybe
the station mobile app is finally here and ready for you to download free. With the app, you can listen to past shows, view upcoming live shows, read our blog, and even shop. Get yours today at the App Store and Google Play under WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Stay connected and informed. WLTK-DB Talk Radio mobile app. It's yours. Go get it.
Okay, 35 minutes past that hour. The first half hour has gone by super fast. Of course, you're tuning back into the Afterlife Chronicles right here on WLTK-DB. Tonight's guests, of course, are two of my favorite women, Linda Myers and Mary Bethune, and we've had a great discussion thus far about the afterlife, theories relating to the afterlife, life after death. If you've missed that first episode, do not worry. It will be archived for you. So now we're going to segue into instrumental trans communication, which is a personal favorite methodology of mine. I know it's of you guys as well. So, and we have about, I think, 6 clips. So hopefully we'll get to all of them. But
Okay.
first, before we do, for those that don't know or understand ITC and kind of how it differs from the more traditional EVP work, well, Estes method is part of an ICT work as well, but how it differs from EVP, what would you, if let's say you were doing a class and someone says, okay, well, what's the difference between doing EVP work and ITC work? What would you say?
I think I would tell them that, well, first of all, you're using instruments for communication, meaning things like radio, TVs, computers, all kinds of things. And that it's more of a live communication. I mean, a lot of people,
Right.
I'm a audience, so I hear stuff during investigations and that. But for me personally, it's more about making that contact in real time. So real time
Yeah.
spirit communication. That's kind of how I look at it, because a lot of time when people do EVPs, they may go back and listen, or they may go back and listen later on to find the answer. Well, this is more real time contact. So yeah.
I love it, and it saddens me that it's some researchers, and that's fine. That's prerogative,
Yeah.
shy on it, and don't believe in its authenticity. I think, of course, it can be very subjective, and that you have to be able to decipher between radio fragments and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But things that I look for when I do it are are there answers that or phrases that coincide with the history of that location? Is it do they correlate with what we're talking about? Is it clear? Is it the same types of vocalizations that come through on a consistent basis? We've had that at the Rancho Buena Vista Adobe. It's phenomenal. So yeah, and there's different methodologies. Have you experienced what was I trying to ask? I don't even know. My brain is not working tonight. Have you tried, I don't even know what I was doing, the Estes method at all?
Oh,
Some
yeah.
people swear by that. I've experimented with it. I still like the classic way of doing it, but I'll use it. That's just me though.
Yeah.
What about you, Linda?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think the Estes is a good training tool too. I mean, if you're already
It
pretty
is.
good at, picking up information, it localizes and focuses you. So it gets you, more able to pay attention and listen. So I think it's a good tool.
That's
And
a
I
good
think
point.
when you do those sessions, you have to be really, and this is something I learned through Bruce Halliday, who's a longtime ghost boxer, who taught me how to do ghost boxing. But one of the things you need to do, you really need to be you need to be able to validate stuff. You need to be prepared when you go in, and so you're not asking a bunch of random questions. Now, I'm not perfect. I don't know how to do that. But if you're at a certain location and you know the history, you really kind of need to get. That's where your focus needs to be, because otherwise it's too easy. Like you were saying, it can be so subjective. You say, "Oh, they answered the question right." I was, "Oh, no, they didn't. It's just random stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I think going into something like that with intention is important as well.
Exactly.
And so there we go. There we circle right back to that intention. Absolutely. I've said absolutely like 10 times tonight. My gosh, take a shot every time I say it, folks. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, it's true though. It goes right back to that intention.
Yeah. And the other thing that's important is when you go in, you need to be rested, you need to be focused, and you need to be, centered, because your energy and their energy, there's a contact there. There's a meetup of that. And I think that if you go in too exhausted or hungover or whatever, angry, you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything at all, because it just doesn't work that way. No. So.
A lot of people overlook that too. What about the Drost effect? The video feedback loop. Have you experimented with that at all?
I've done some, and I haven't had much luck with that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
likewise. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you are on that. So, but I'm looking at the time. Let's get into some of these clips. I've
Okay.
listened to them. They're phenomenal. Very clear. I don't know if there's a specific order that you want to go
No,
with these. I
no.
guess I'll just queue up. Let's start out with NAS number 11, Independence, and let's cue
Okay.
that. And
Okay.
then maybe we can play it, and or would you prefer to talk about it first and then?
Yeah, let me just do a brief
Okay,
thing. Now,
sure.
the Afterlife Research and Education Institute, which is fabulous, by the way, they set up the North American Station. And the North American Station is a spirit contact station in the United States. And they have them in Europe, they have them in Russia, but this is the first one they've really tried to get going in the United States since the 70s. So, what the process is, there's a program that I can't remember the name of the program, EVP Maker. So it takes all the words, it just jumbles all the words, and you basically, it's like a ghost box session that you make contact with whoever's on the other side. You have specific questions you ask, especially when you first start out. And what we're doing is we're building a bridge to the other side. So I have contacts on the other side that I've had contacts with them very frequently, and I've talked to other people that have done it with NAS, and they have similar contacts. So that's kind of what that whole thing is about. But so I was just basically asking the question, what is an important day in July for the United States? And then we got that answer. So
We got the answer, and so I assume that these individuals or spirits, if you will, from that station serve as the liaison, right?
Yeah, they
They're
are.
kind of
There's
So that's
a number of
right.
them.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and cue that up. NAS number 11, Independence. This is actually one of my favorite ones,
I
actually.
love this
So,
one.
yeah.
Today's
Go ahead and
July
do that.
1st, big day, big first day of the month. We're looking at July 4th. You know what the day that is in the United States? Could you give me one word to describe it? Yeah, that still gives me goosebumps. That's still,
Oh
when
my
that
gosh.
happened, I jumped up in the air like a little kid. Oh my God. It was so funny.
That's super, super clear. Let's play it one more time, if you don't mind.
No. Today's July 1st, big day, big first day of the month. We're looking at July 4th. You know what the day that is in the United States? Could you give me one word to describe it?
Oh, wow.
Independence. I love
Yeah,
that.
Independence, how she enunciated. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's fun. That's a fun. See, folks, this is what you can get with very well thought out ITC session. So awesome. Let's go to let's do NAS number 12, Doug. I'm here. Let's do that. Well, you want to talk about it first?
Well, it's my husband who passed away. I've contacted him through
Well,
various.
let's go ahead and play it.
Play it, yeah, play it.
And then
Doug, are you here, please? Yes or no? I'm here, love.
okay, let's go ahead and play
I'm here
that.
with. Doug, are you here, please? Yes or no? I'm here, love. I'm here with you. And the crazy thing about that, that's exactly what he sounds like. That's his voice.
And that's so you recognize the voice, obviously.
Well,
Wow, that's
him.
phenomenal.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
to get
so
that
I have to
here, love,
apologize.
I'm here with you. Yeah.
I have to apologize because there's a delay, I think, with something with our internet. I don't know what's going on
Okay.
tonight, so it's delayed. So that's why if I seem like I'm interrupting you, I apologize. But
Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah.
that's awesome. Wow. So I'm sure that you had, goosebumps all over your body
Oh,
when
yeah.
you heard that.
And I've gotten a number of communications through the ghost box and different EVPs, so I know when he's around. So yeah, that's pretty neat.
Awesome. Fantastic. Let's move on to NAS number 13. That's okay. That's okay, and then I'll leave the rest out. So where was this? Where
This
did
was
you
at home.
record this?
These are all at home. I do these. The NAS sessions are done at
Okay.
home. And I think this is
these
the one.
okay.
I think these are the ones
Okay.
with the dogs. Yeah, I think because they were being really loud and obnoxious. And I'm apologizing when you hear it.
Awesome. Let's cue that up. We'll play that.
Sorry. What is wrong with my dog? She's so antsy. Okay. That's so
Mm.
cute. I
Wow.
love that. Because they were being
Wow.
really loud, doing their dog, clipping around, running around the room. It's like, God, you guys, and, what's the matter with my dog? She loves you. It's like, wow.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
clear. That's
Yeah.
definitely clear. My goodness. Okay, we have two more. Let's go to Trouble 2. Well, why don't you preface it first and then we'll play it.
Okay. When we first started doing the NAS sessions, we asked for validation words. We would ask, saying, if you were having trouble, please say trouble. Or if the signal isn't clear, please say clear, or whatever.
We do that too. Yep.
Yeah. So this is one of the validation questions. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and cue that.
You are having trouble getting through. Please say trouble. It was immediately after I said, please say trouble, you hear trouble. It was crazy.
That's clear. Oh my gosh, these are phenomenal captures. My goodness. Such a treat. I love
I do too.
Pete was on last week and we did his EVPs and now we're doing your ITCs. This is awesome. So
all
right, last one. Let's see. It's the basement one. Preface it and then we'll play it.
We were at the Hastings House in Port Townsend. We had set up equipment downstairs, audio equipment down in the basement. And you're going to hear these little kids' voice, and they're actually calling for my dog. And they'll say her name, and then you'll hear them say, hello, hello, and then you'll hear like stomping. The thing that's interesting about that is my dog Eulalie had crossed over, I hate the word dead, for about 3 years. So, and Eulalie was on our team. Eulalie was part of the team. She went to investigate. So, yeah. So that's kind of crazy. It kind of blew my mind. I went, oh my God. So
she's continuing her efforts. Oh my God, that's
she
amazing.
She's amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's play it.
Eulalie. So at the very beginning, you hear someone go, Eulalie, like that.
So that's not you
name.
then.
No, that's not
not
me.
you saying.
No.
Oh my gosh. See, I thought it was, oh.
No.
Can we play one more time?
Yeah, and I didn't even go in the basement. Oh, you missed it. It's in the beginning. It's right at the beginning. Right there. Eulalie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my. Wow.
Hello. Yeah. That's so
you know
crazy.
What this demonstrates to me? This demonstrates to me that a spirited presence recognized your dog and knew the name.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, we've been up to Port Gamble to walk range, and we've done ghost box sessions. Eulalie used to go there all the time with us. And I said, do you remember my dogs? Do you remember what I used to bring here? And they'd say, a dog. I said, you remember her name? And they'd say her name. It's a very odd name. You don't hear that name everywhere. So, yeah, pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome. This is awesome. I think ITC is such a underrated methodology, and I think that I like what you have to say, Linda, too, about the SDs being a way to kind of, it is a way to kind of train yourself, to train your senses in a way, which is awesome.
And Linda's really good at it. She's
I know.
She's amazing.
You two are phenomenal people, individuals. They're researchers as well. So it's it's an honor to have you guys on the show. Anything now involving ITC, and we can get both of your opinions. What are like the maybe top three things you would tell like a new practitioner? Top three things you would want them to know when practicing ITC.
Go for it, Linda.
Let's.
She does that to me all the time.
I know.
Number one thing is intent. People don't understand how important it is to go and do something with intention. If you show up to do something in ITC and you're all wiggle waggle blah, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh yeah, exactly. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh my
that's
gosh.
a Leo in me. And the second thing I would say, don't go buy a bunch of equipment, because that's like the first thing. You get all excited and I got to have this, I got to have that. And, you end up, you're going to find a favorite piece. So start small. gosh, I can't think of my third thing.
Mhm.
Come to any session with integrity. Don't come trying to be this, amazing person. Come to learn. Come to connect.
Mhm. Yeah. For
Your
me,
turn.
Right
yeah,
on.
for me, I would say, if you know your equipment and keep it simple, first
Yeah.
thing out of the gate, know your equipment. Second of all, you need to be prepared. You're not going to, like you said, Linda, you're not going to go in there all willy-nilly, woo, because that's just you're not going to get anything. And the last thing that's really important, I think, is be objective. Not everything you're going to hear is going to
Yes.
be paranormal. You've got to have some kind of validation that backs up what you're hearing. You've got to get the right response for the right question or whatever.
One more thing is a lot of people think you're going to get something every time.
Right.
Say we do stuff for 100 hours, we
Mhm.
could end up getting a 10-second flag.
Exactly.
So be patient.
Exactly.
Be patient. Yeah.
Exactly.
Those are the big ones. Yeah. And the other thing is, don't listen to other people who are naysayers. You need to follow your path, and you need to study what you're interested in. So don't
Very,
let other
very well
people
said.
dissuade you at all. So.
Very well said. I mean, take these pointers. These pointers are, very easy to remember, but are sadly often overlooked. But very, very poignant points from veteran researchers, folks. So this has been an awesome session. A few minutes
Yes.
left, session hour is what I meant to say. Gosh, my brain tonight. It seems like the last 2 weeks my brain's not really been on, but I am dealing with long COVID. I will put that out there. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So not that that's an excuse, but
Mhm.
anyway, enough about that. But any events, anything coming up that you would like to share and promote? Mike is yours.
Well,
We've got the Port Gamble Paranormal Conference, November 10, 11, 12, I think it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Oh my
we've got
gosh.
what's the thing in Port Townsend?
Yeah, in Port Townsend, this will be our second time. It's called Haunted Histories and Mysteries, October 28th and 29th, and it's going to be at Fort Worden. What we will be doing this year is we're going to be helping with investigations. We're going to be investigating some of the barracks, I think, in Fort Worden. I call it the Castle House, the
Schoolhouse.
the schoolhouse, and then we're going to do Manresa, and then there's one more location I can't remember. So it's really a lot of fun. We did it the first year, and it was a lot of work, but because of COVID, we didn't do it. But we are doing it again this year, and they're going to have a Halloween ball on the 28th of October at Manresa.
Fantastic. I can't wait to get back up there. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to Port Gamble 2017. It's like, whoa.
Has it been that long? Wow.
Yes, 5 years. Oh my gosh. So one of these days, so.
Oh, the lighthouse.
But this has been.
Yeah.
Oh, what lighthouse is it?
The one in it's on Fort Worden. There's an old lighthouse there.
Okay. Oh, that sounds fun. That's going to be great.
Oh yeah.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for coming on. I do apologize for the internet glitch. Usually my Wi-Fi is pretty solid, but I don't know. I'm probably going to have to upgrade to, we'll deal with that maybe, I don't know, next week. But thank you so much for coming on. This was great discussion. You both are welcome back anytime, anytime you want. Absolutely. Coming up next, so right after this show at 10 p.m. Eastern is Kent Drake's Voices of the Dead, and his guest tonight is Michael Graves, I guess the lead, I want to say it's singer, I hope I'm right on that, from the band The Misfits in the 80s. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, this episode will be archived in case people have missed it. So great episode. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great weekend. It's already Thursday. This week flew by. Have a great weekend, and we will see you guys next week. All right. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.